I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on Metal Rules, I'm pleased to be speaking with John Gallagher of Raven for the 50th anniversary EP called Can't Take Away the Fire, which will come out on February 14th. John, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Good to be here, Robert. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So this EP comes out on Valentine's Day. This is definitely not a lover's album, is it?
Nah, this is the Valentine's Day Massacre, definitely.
That's what I like, and it's a it's a great album. I like to call it album because it's got a lot of it's got what, five original songs, and it also has three tracks that you guys pre-recorded.
Yeah, some bonus goodies from over our career, just to flesh things out a little bit. But it's great to be able to put out new music relatively close to the last one
Yes.
because it's been something that's bugged us for many years. Is this oh, you can only put an album out every 3 or 4 or 5 no. That's not how it was in the day. And, being a fan myself, I want new music. I want new music all the time. So if one of my favorite bands happens to do an album, 18 months after that, I want to buy it. I want to check it out. So, you know.
I know the fan. I know I appreciate it. I know the fans appreciate it. And I was just wondering the status of the songs. Were they brand new songs that you created specifically for this EP, or perhaps were they leftovers from the last studio album? So tell me a little bit about this.
A little bit of both. A
Yeah.
couple of them were, like in embryo form when we did the last album,
Mhm.
and then there's a couple being written since then. Uh, but it was in our mind because we knew, Mike moved to Texas, and he's been building a new studio, and that was going to take time. And it was just like, let's get something together to fill that gap
Yeah.
because he needs to get it done and tuned and get all the bugs out of it. I really don't want to be the beta tester for Mike's studio. No, that would be like hell. I don't want that. So, hopefully we'll be going there. We have a festival, Hell's Heroes in Houston on March 20th. So I think we're going to pop over to his for like a week or so and do some pre-writing and kicking ideas around and maybe pick up a hammer or a saw and help. I don't know.
Just pay for the studio time by doing some manual labor, right?
That's right. Yes.
You know what I
Earning
love?
or keep. Yeah.
What I loved about the album and all your albums is they start off with a kick-ass guitar riff and guitar hook. Particularly on this EP, Black and Blue. Great song, great riff. Does the songwriting process typically start for you with a great riff and then you build the song around it?
Yeah. That's one of the older ones that we did eventually change a few things. That song's been in different, configurations over a few years, to be honest, that one. And I've always been pushing. It's a great song. It's a great song. Come on, come on, come on. I
Yeah.
finally changed the chorus, and everyone was like, "Yes, we're with you," you know. Uh, and of course, as always, we collaborated with the arrangement, and everyone put their 10 cents in, and it ends up being 10 times what the demo was.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And the same with Power Hungry, great riff. And I think it really rivals any song off Metallica's first album. What a riff. And that's a really powerful riff in that song. Tell me about the creation of that song.
Yeah, that one's definitely almost a throwback.
Yes, I was going to
Before
ask.
the arrangement got in on it, you've got that, what's it, trying to remember the riff. Oh my God, I'm fired once again. Yeah. It was that's the big hook.
Yeah. I actually thought I said, "What is it? Let me look at this. Is this a
Yeah.
Metallica cover or whatnot?" I was like, no, it's not.
Now I've got the riff. It's ah. The brain works finally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's those notes are a combination of you know, it's very new wave of British heavy metal,
Yes.
which back in the day actually wasn't. There wasn't that many of those songs. A little later on, all the bands had jumped on the bandwagon, started playing a variation of that, or 2 minutes to midnight, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, so a little bit of that is cool. Why not?
Yeah.
We were there when it started, so bring a little in. And of
So
course,
is
it's the stops and starts and the little bits in the arrangement that elevate it to somewhere else a little bit, you know.
so is that a new song written now, but a throwback, or was it an old riff that you picked up and still had and you created from
I
it?
had the chorus,
Okay.
didn't have the other part, but I had that. Well, that hook, the bridge, the da 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 da. I had that. It was like that's great, but you know what do we build around it? And Mark came up with a cool melodic, like a middle eight part on the guitar, and we were off to the races. That was great, yeah.
No, it's a great intro riff too to initiate the song. I think it's killer. Tell me about the writing process. Has the writing process changed within Raven since the 80s?
Not really. I'll toil and create endless amounts of music, of which, 10, 15% will go, that's great. And Mark will do nothing and then pick up a guitar and write a song from start to finish, and I'll go, you bastard. And he's done that so many times, and it's just like lightning in a bottle, you know.
Yeah.
So quite often when he plugs in at a sound check, I've got the phone handy, and I'm just like, I'll just check, what's he playing here? See if we can
Some gold
play that
nugget.
again. That was good. What you just did? Play that again, and that'll spark things. But you know, anything works. You can shout stuff into a phone. Mark wrote "Destroy All Monsters" off the Extermination album in a airplane bathroom with a phone, just doing the da 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 da
Oh
da
my
dun, dun,
God.
dun, 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 and all that. It was hilarious to hear, but it's just like, okay, let's put it together, and so whatever works. Uh, I'll I mean, this phone here has got like about nearly 3,000 ideas, most of which I haven't even listened to since they're on. So at a certain point, I go back and I start listening and go, oh, what is this? Maybe I'll copy that onto something else and, like, sift through the chaff, as it were, get rid of the stuff that's nonsense, and then try to just, build and block it into verse chorus, and then maybe present that to the guys and go, I've got an idea here, and they'll go, ooh, I've got something for that, or kill that. I don't like that chorus, but I have a chorus, and between us, and Mike's been playing guitar from he literally started like a few
Wow.
years ago, so he's come up with riffs. He wrote most of the riffs on one of the songs on All Hell's Breaking Loose.
That's
So
terrific.
I good ideas are good ideas, so
That's
we'll
true.
absolutely take them.
That's true. I hope you download all those songs onto your computer from your phone. So if you ever lost your phone,
Yeah, that's it's all up on the cloud, thank God.
yeah, thank God. Yeah. I think Kurt Hammett lost his.
Yeah, which Kirk famously lost his phone and lost all his ideas. So no, once everyone heard that, they were like, "Yeah, let's make a copy of this."
Now,
I
as I
actually,
mentioned,
I actually went through that with my laptop quite recently. There was because I'm in Florida, there was an electrical storm, and it killed my hard drive.
wow.
And I thought I had everything saved onto an external drive, but apparently a lot of the information I didn't. And now I have about, I don't know, 7 or 8 gigs worth of musical material that has no names.
Oh, geez.
And I have to meticulously go through each one. And because a lot of them are linked, like say 7 or 8 tracks for a song, it's almost impossible to
Yeah,
figure it out.
it's like a
So
puzzle.
thank God I have little mixes of those, and we'll just have to back engineer it. So, but yeah, back up your data. You got to do
Sure.
that.
And it doesn't, you don't realize the importance of it until you lose or your computer breaks and you lose absolutely everything. I think I have one in a safe. I have one in a my house in my closet that I use regularly, and I just had one go bad on me. Believe it or not, it was only half used. It was a couple of years old, and it just went bad. Thankfully, I pulled out the one that's in the safe, and I just downloaded it to the new one. So I'm
That's
like
good. But
I'm
yeah,
like neurotic about it.
I had so much issues with this, and I spent all kinds of money trying to get it mended. And my digital workstation had disappeared. I have to bring that back in, and then it's a new version, and then you don't have the codes. And I had a Lassie Lammert, who's mixed our last couple of things. He's mixed the EP and mixed the album. He very nicely provided me with a suite of guitar sounds, and that disappeared. And then he was on holiday, and I had to download some rubbish one off the internet just to get by when I was, recording stuff.
Yep.
So it's a giant pain in the ass, which anything digital is. I want to line all these web designers and I want to line them up against the wall and tap them on the head with a baseball bat, I think.
As I mentioned earlier, there's three live songs on this EP. After 50 years, how did you go about picking, maybe the three songs to make that onto this?
It was pretty simple. We wanted something new. We want something from the Joe Hasselvander era and something old. So I got given uh, an audience bootleg from a show we did opening for Judas Priest in 1984 in
Wow.
Holland, which just the audience were insane on it. And so we picked Don't Need Your Money, which, if you're doing an anniversary stretch, let's take the first song that we ever put out.
Yeah.
So that's on. Architect of Fear, which is a great song. I believe that was recorded in Erlangen in Germany in about 91 when we
Mhm.
were touring with Running Wild. Uh, and then The Power from, I think, 2 year ago in,
Dingbats.
there you go, Dingbatch,
I was
Jersey.
there. I was there for the show.
Ah, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely out of control frantic. So it's good to have that.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved hearing something from that show. So that was fantastic. When you did the whole Wiped Out album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Hey,
something was another project we'll get to at some point. There's like 5 or 6 shows that were recorded on that, and some of the tracks are missing, and then there's technical problems on this one and that one. I'm hoping we can kind of do a compilation and have even if it's just to sell at the shows, the
yeah,
wiped out set, because that was a lot of fun, and there's a few videos out there, and you can hear that we were having a lot of fun playing it. It was
yeah,
great. And when you've got songs that you've heard yourself 1,000 times and never played them live,
yeah.
that was cool. It was good to do that.
Yeah, Dingbats is a small little club, and I thought they did a really nice job of recording that. I thought it came out really well. You're never really sure in these smaller clubs how it's going to sound. It sounds one way, but it records a different way. So I thought it sounded
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
really
It's
good.
always funky with that. But yeah, that was a great night. It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. You're only pressing 1,000 copies of the EP on CD, so it's pretty rare. What was the reason for only 1,000 copies?
They just want to make it exclusive,
Okay.
and create a feeding frenzy so they can turn around and print 9,000 later on. Maybe I don't know. Uh, and hopefully there's enough angst and argument going on that eventually they'll press it on vinyl. That would be nice too
Yeah.
at some point. Uh, you know, there's a whole industry thing where it's like they don't want to do an EP because it's everything for the record company and the distributor and the printer. It's exactly the same as if they were doing an album, but they have to sell it for less.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah,
it's
I get
like,
it.
what's in it for us type of thing. So there was a little bit of that. But if making it a special for the fans and making it an unusual event, I think circumvents a lot of that, which is why
Smart.
it was so cool back in the 80s to do that. You had the colored vinyl and you had the extra track and all this cool stuff.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And each one of those 1,000 is signed also, right?
Yep, all three
Yeah.
of us are signing those bad boys. Yeah,
Yep, and on the website, I'll put a little link so people could order it and have it and get
please
their
do.
hands
Yeah.
on it. It's been 50 years since Raven was formed, 1974. As an artist, do you still feel like you have something to prove after 50 years? Because you guys, this album, you guys haven't slowed down, you haven't aged, you haven't mellowed. You guys are just as angry and furious as you were in the 80s.
That's right. I pick up a guitar and I'm still 14. I'm still
Yeah,
still full of hell, still bashing it out. And that's the way we feel. And it's inconceivable that you could get a bunch of people coming out on stage now and going, hey, everyone play our album from 1964 and blah, blah, and just cruise. We don't cruise. We
no,
hammer down fifth gear all the time. Uh It's been one hell of a ride, but it
yes,
does continue. There are new worlds to conquer. There's new places to play. There's new music to make. And we've very much hammered the point that we are a vibrant, active, creative band. We're not a legacy act that plays the old hits. You're not going to see us doing the casino circuit. We'd probably drive everybody out, I think. But yeah, we love, as the EP attests, we love the old material. We love our legacy, but we are focused on the new material and pushing forward and seeing how far we can go with this. Uh, we're enjoying doing this more than ever. I think mainly because, we're old farts, but we're not boring, as Townsend would say. We're not boring farts, and we appreciate it. We know how lucky we are to be able to do what we do as well as we do, and to have you know, I don't know if you call it humble or whatever, but we're lucky, and we're going to appreciate that and work hard at uh, keeping that reputation of being a great live band and putting out interesting, powerful, exciting new music.
that's fantastic.
So,
Yeah,
all
and
good.
fans love it. Fans appreciate it, and fans love it. Now, you and your
I
brother
think they can
Mark,
tell. They can tell when you're, conning them, or
yeah,
if you're not being sincere. We're very sincere.
true.
Uh, we have a laugh. We joke around, but we're deadly serious about what we do at the same time.
That's great. You and your brother Mark have been at the forefront of Raven for 50 years. How difficult has it been to sustain a band for 50 years? I mean, marriages don't last that long, friends don't last that long, jobs don't last that long, but yet Raven is still around and you're still with your brother working on
I have no idea how. He's a massive pain in the ass.
it.
No,
Hopefully he won't see it, right? Hopefully he won't see this interview, right?
he'll see it eventually. Uh, I don't know. We're different people, but we have a shared viewpoint on what the band is and what it's all about, and in music in general. He's the guy that'll send me a YouTube video of AC/DC from 1977 at like 4 o'clock in the morning and go, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's never not going to be great, like that kind of thing. So we have that obviously the roots, the shared experience, and the pride of what we've been able to hold on to and go through. I mean, earlier this year we played New Orleans, and Rob Hunter, our drummer from the 80s, was in town setting up a show for Branford Marsalis because he does Branford sound
Yeah.
and records him. He says, I'm in town. Uh, what time's your sound check? We'd never sat face to face in 37 years.
Wow.
So he came in, we sat for 3 hours and just shot the shit like it was yesterday. And he just said, thank you for keeping it alive. And that meant a lot.
That's very true. That's very kind. You know, I'm reading the Van Halen book, the Van Halen brothers book, but Alex wrote about his brother, and I'm in the middle of it, and I equate it to you guys. You have some sort of special chemistry going on, and some sort of special telepathy that what you like and that same sound. You've never really wanted to. You're both on the same path. Let's just say going in the same direction, which is unusual for siblings, you know. So kudos to you for doing that. Is it very similar to the Van Halens, where you just kind of like you get each other, you know each other, nobody knows you better than each other?
Yeah, that's it's a bit of both. I mean, I'll bring in different influences and what have you, and Mark will, and it'll be like, oh, he'll be like saying things like, oh, I heard this band Hailstorm. I think they're great.
Yeah,
A very kind of poppy metal thing. I'm like, really? Okay. And I'm listening to like a singer-songwriter or something, but somehow it all comes out in the mix and comes out as Raven.
yeah.
And when we play, we just fall into this. He'll play a riff and I'll play counterpart. I'll not just play bum 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 bum. I'll play something that melodically adds to the situation. And then all of a sudden you've got these two parts which just make one big part. And then when you add Mike, who's the most insane drummer you've ever
Mm.
heard. I mean, this guy's off the charts, and it just makes us up our game. And we're all trying to one up each other in a
Friendly
friendly,
manner.
competitive way,
Yeah,
as long as the music is elevated, and it's great. And when you're on stage and you're jamming and you're basically throwing softballs at each other and trying to catch them and throw them back, that's awesome. We love doing that.
yeah. Now, my introduction to you when I was a kid was Kerrang! Magazine.
Right.
You were always in there. You were also at the forefront of the new wave of British heavy metal. What, who were your influences when you started playing? Because you guys influenced me, but who influenced you back in the day in Britain?
Everything, everything. I mean, when we were kids, we jump around with tennis rackets to Top of the Pops, which
Mm.
was the TV show in England that was on once a week. So it was Slade, Status Quo, Sweet, Mud, Gary Glitter, David Bowie, all that 1971, 72, 73 stuff. Roxy Music.
Wow.
And then from, the first show we ever went to see was in 73. It was Slade with the sensational Alex Harvey band opening.
Yep.
And we didn't know Alex Harvey from a hole in the ground, but he came out there and was the greatest front man I've ever seen. He
Agreed.
got all those teeny bopper kids in the palm of his hand within like a song, and they were amazing. So between them and Slade, we were ruined for life as far as showmanship. And it was
Yeah.
like, this is how it's done. You engage the audience, you connect with the audience. You don't look at the floor and go, I'm cool, you
Right.
know? You just say, yeah, having a laugh and connecting and creating that feedback loop of energy and positivity between the audience and the band. And we'd go and see all the bands. I mean, I queued out in the snow on the steps of Newcastle City Hall to
Oh,
get tickets for Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. Again, a mind-blowing show. And we'd see all these bands, and you'd see the openers, and you'd watch and go, "Oh, they were doing so well, and they lost the audience. How did they lose the audience?" Well, his amp went off, and he threw a hissy fit, and immediately the temperature of the room drops 20 degrees, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's an asshole." And then you're like, "Oh, so if something goes wrong, laugh it off, and people will go with you."
yeah.
If
Yep.
you do the opposite, they want nothing to do with you.
Sure.
And when bands had things like power cuts and everything went up, how do they deal with that? It's the old, when the ballerina falls down, what happened? It's how you get up or whatever, as
True.
opposed to just lying there and crying about it. So all these things went into the mix, and musically too. So it'd be taken, AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and Yes and Genesis and ELP and Hendrix and whoever.
Yeah. But you guys turned it
Fusion
up.
stuff, all of that. We'd soak it all in.
You guys turned the speed up on it faster. You were like one of the original power metal with the double bass and the power and the angst and the aggression. Where did that come from? Because Deep Purple's
Well,
great, you know, and all those bands you said, Roxy music, it's not speed metal to some degree,
no.
but you guys
Well,
were on
what
the
we
forefront of
did
that.
is when we were kids, we'd play the pubs and then we'd play the working men's clubs. And the bands that played the working men's clubs, there was a bunch of bands playing heavy rock. And before us on that same circuit was Saxon, who were
Okay.
called Son of a Bitch. And
Mhm.
before them, it was Judas Priest. So there was a tradition in Durham, mainly south of Newcastle, of these 14, 15 clubs that would have heavy rock bands. So with the bands there, they'd play Deep Purple, they'd play Smoke on the Water, you
Right.
know? We'd play Highway Star. It was always the amped up songs,
Got it.
always the faster ones.
And then it just kept building,
And
right?
it just kept building. We went dark and you'd see the reaction and say, well, play it a little faster. I mean, I've got rehearsal demos of us doing our first single, which is, da 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 da. It's da 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 da, and then the next thing gets faster, it gets faster, and it gets faster, and then eventually it's where it was.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating. Well, listen, John, I want to take you, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. It was a fascinating interview, and I wish you the best with the EP. And I recommend everybody go out and get this because this is really great stuff on here. Congratulations to you and your brother, Mike.
Thank you so much, Robert.
All right, take it easy. I'll see you soon.
See you next time in Jersey.
Yes.
Cheers.
Bye bye.